My name is Natalia Tretьякова. I am a professor of medicinal chemistry and the founding director of the University of Minnesota Epigenetics Consortium. Epigenetics is an exciting new field in biology and medicine that studies the mechanisms by which cells regulate the levels of gene expression. As you know, our bodies have many types of cells, over 200 of them, and each of these cells have exactly the same genome, yet have completely different properties in terms of their morphology and function. So what makes these different cells different while they carry exactly the same DNA? This is the function of epigenetics. Epigenetic regulation establishes stable patterns of gene expression in different types of cells during differentiation. And it does so by introducing reversible chemical marks on DNA and histone proteins that are used to package DNA inside the nucleus. This repackaging makes specific regions of the genome available for transcription while hiding other regions and silencing those genes. Epigenetic patterns are typically stable in terminally differentiated healthy cells, but can be deregulated in human disease. Epigenetics is an extremely exciting area that is rapidly developing in the recent years. When human genome was sequenced in 2003, we thought that we would discover all the clues that are required to understand the origins of human diseases. And we realized that only less than 2% of our genomes actually code for proteins. So what is the function of the rest of the genome? It turns out that it contains regulatory regions that help regulate the patterns of gene expression. And so these regions occupy a significant area of the human genome. So we know that many human diseases have epigenetic origins. For example, in cancer, the patterns of gene expression become completely deregulated, enable abnormal cells to grow uncontrollably. Epigenetics helps us understand how this happens, and our knowledge about epigenetic origins of cancer and other diseases makes it possible to develop revolutionary new treatments for these human conditions. What's exciting for me about epigenetics is that epigenetic marks are reversible. So while we cannot change the genes we are born with, we can actually potentially change the epigenetic makeup of a cell, enable us to cure human diseases. For example, traditional methods of treating cancer is to use highly toxic therapies that kill every cancer cell. This is very taxing for a patient because it's associated with significant side effects and morbidity. If we use epigenetic regulators as potential treatments, instead of killing every cancer cell, we can reprogram it so it becomes more like a normal cell. And we can use this for treatment of cancer in a much less invasive way. The University of Minnesota Epigenetics Consortium was established in 2015 by a group of faculty who are passionate about promoting this field at the University of Minnesota. We now grew to a significant number of members. We have a seminar program that happens every month on Thursdays. And we have efforts to establish continuing funding for the Epigenetics Consortium using external grants from the NIH and the industry. The Epigenetic Consortium enables members to interact with each other and establish new collaborations. University of Minnesota contains experts from many different fields, but it's a very large space. So many of us who work in the areas of epigenetics don't typically interact with each other. So by establishing the Epigenetic Consortium, we made a platform for these individuals to talk to each other, engage in collaborations, and also apply for external funding together. We are very happy that many of these conversations now led to joint applications to the NIH and brought in at least 3 NIH grants in the last year or two. We have monthly seminars on the first Thursday of each month, And the seminars bring in experts from University of Minnesota and also nationwide. So we've had a variety of speakers who talked about their efforts to develop chemical probes for epigenetic research, those who are directly involved in development of epigenetic drugs for treatment of cancer and inflammatory conditions, and also chemists that are making molecules that can be used as potential new treatments of diseases that have epigenetic origins. Such diseases include cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, autism, asthma, you name it, the list just goes on. As we learn more about epigenetics, we realize that many diseases have a significant epigenetic components. What is unique about epigenetic research at the University of Minnesota is that we have a very strong chemical biology program here, and there are many faculty involved in development of chemical probes and also treatments for various diseases. So our take on epigenetics is to identify the origins of disease, or epigenetic origins of disease, to develop new treatments using epigenetic modulators, and also to combat drug resistance. University of Minnesota is unique because it has experts in many different fields and can combine this expertise together using the platform of the consortium to solve biological and medical problems that we couldn't solve before. So we have academic health center here, and Jakub Thaler, who directs this academic health center, is really supportive of our efforts to establish the Epigenetics Consortium in the University of Minnesota. So he provided us with funding for the consortium, and our goal is to grow stronger and bring in external funding for the epigenetics research here. We have College of Pharmacy that has experts in drug design and development. We have a very strong medical school here where researchers are interested in translational research to actually take in the chemical entities developed by medicinal chemists and progress them all the way to actual new treatments for cancer and other diseases. Amazing thing I realized as I engaged in this effort is that actually epigenetics is a lot broader than just chemistry or biology. So we have now members who are involved in agricultural research, for example, those who study susceptibility of corn to diseases. So there is definitely epigenetic component in that that's very interesting and exciting. We have members from the dentistry school that are investigating the origins of oral cancer and how they can be treated. And we have members from veterinary school as well. And almost every corner of the university seems to be interested in epigenetics research. So I'm very excited about bringing these people together because we can use similar tools and share our expertise to solve a variety of societal problems. One significant challenge that I faced when I started the Epigenetics Consortium is that it couldn't be easily placed in one specific college or department or any other entity within the university. This is because I didn't limit the consortium to any specific area of research, and I invited research from the entire university. So it was a little bit challenging organizationally to place the consortium within a specific administrative structure within the university. So we are now under the auspices of the Academic Health Center. However, we're still inviting researchers from outside of AHC. And I think as we grow, we are redefining ourselves. And I think we are focusing more on using epigenetics for treatments of human disease. We want to expand the reach of our consortium well beyond the University of Minnesota. So several years ago, we approached the Cornell Institute and also the Mayo Clinic that is located 2 hours south from Minneapolis. in terms of establishing collaborations and getting together to have a joint effort in promoting epigenetics in the state of Minnesota. We now have Shujun Liu, who is at Cornell Institute, very active member of the consortium. And we also collaborating with Thomas Ordog and Keith Robertson from the Mayo Clinic. And these individuals are actually involved in clinical aspects of epigenetics. So many of the Mayo Clinic researchers treat patients. So it is very valuable for us to have a partner such as Mayo Clinic, because it allows us to progress our ideas from the bench side to the clinic. We are also establishing collaborations with researchers in European countries and beyond. We have a strong collaboration with Silvio De Flora from Italy and also Yelena Gorokhova from Stockholm University. And for example, the collaboration with Yelena is very interesting. It just resulted in a publication in Nature Scientific Reports. And what we did in that work is we identified epigenetic changes in marine organisms in the Baltic Sea that are exposed to environmental contaminants. And we found that there were very interesting changes, specifically in DNA methylation, that are happening as a result of such exposures, and they led to changes in morphology of these organisms. Our goal is to continue to grow and extend our reach nationally and internationally. We want to attract external funding from the NIH in the form of center grant and also training grants for students to enable us to issue, for example, pilot grants for individuals involved in epigenetics research, and also to coordinate our training efforts. Each of us, members of the consortium, has a research group that is engaged in epigenetics efforts. And we are very excited about the opportunity to provide unique training for these graduate students, postdocs, and undergraduates who are working in those laboratories, so they can have interdisciplinary training in the field of epigenetics. Our mission is to establish University of Minnesota as a main player in the field of epigenetics. We want to be a thought leader in the field of epigenetics, and we want to play a major role in where the field is going. Ultimately, we want to be able to contribute to shaping up the field of epigenetics, and specifically chemical epigenetics, and to expand the reach of this field to many other applications, such as treatments of human diseases.